Hey, I'm Bryce.
Hey, and I'm Brian. Today we're talking about anxiety and Parkinson's. And we're going to be sharing with you 5 tips for you to manage this more effectively.
And of course, we have Brian back with what's becoming a fan favorite, his expertly general news. And we're going to have a shaky, fakey battle that's one for the ages.
In a world where the ground feels shaky and memory is optional, two men will rise, armed with microphones, dry humor, and a suspicious number of pill bottles. They'll face tremors, stiffness, and the ultimate challenge, recording a podcast without forgetting what they were talking about. This is where Parkinson's gets real. This is Life in Motion, the Parkinson's podcast. Rated P for please take your meds first. Now, grab your earbuds, unless you forgot where you put them. Then just turn the volume up because today's episode is ready to go. Now, here are Bryce and Brian.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Life in Motion, the Parkinson podcast.
Yeah, thanks for hanging with us today. And yeah, we're not live for this one.
No, we're not. But you know what? The anxiety is still very much live.
Yeah, that's true. Normally we're live on Sundays, but this week we had to record ahead. Still, if you're watching the premiere, jump in the comments. We'll be there reading them and responding.
Yeah, and don't hold back. Honestly, half the fun of this podcast is reading the comments after.
You know what, Bryce? Sometimes the comments are better than what we have to say.
Most of the time. But listen, last week I went a little off, right? I went off a little bit.
What?
We climbed up on a soapbox and got pretty passionate. And all week I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, you know, that led you to your solo podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And while I was recording that, something kept coming back to me, something that we don't talk a lot about, and that's anxiety.
Anxiety and Parkinson's, they're like best friends at a party, except nobody invited them and they refused to leave.
Yeah, exactly. And yet, when people talk about Parkinson's, it's always, tremor, stiffness, balance. Anxiety barely gets mentioned. So today, that's our theme: Parkinson's and anxiety, the symptom that nobody takes seriously.
So here's our first audience challenge. If you've ever felt anxiety tied to Parkinson's, type "me too" in the comments below. Doesn't matter if you're live or watching later, these 2 words could make somebody feel a little less alone.
Absolutely. Well, you know what, Brian? For me, anxiety shows up in places that don't make sense. Like at a birthday party, everybody's laughing, everybody's singing "Happy Birthday," they're eating cake, and meanwhile, inside, I'm panicking, and not because of the cake, though buttercream frosting can always make anyone sweet or sweat.
Yeah,
But my brain suddenly screams out, "Get out of here! You don't belong."
yep. And it's not always tied to something logical. Anxiety just shows up and takes over.
Exactly. Like on the outside, I'm smiling. On the inside, though, it feels like I'm sprinting uphill with a backpack full of bricks.
Yeah, for me, it's often when I walk into a room, my body goes stiff, my chest gets tight, and then overthinking kicks in. What if I freeze? What if they notice? It's like my own head becomes the enemy.
Oh my gosh, Brian. And once you start overthinking it like that, it's game over. Anxiety plus Parkinson's is like adding espresso to an earthquake.
I
Like
love
everything's
that.
jittery and nothing makes sense.
That is fantastic. I'm stealing that one.
You like that one, right?
I do.
Go ahead. You give me a credit though. You can use it, but give me credit.
Okay. Bryce once said,
Perfect. Yeah, but here's where you come in. If you've had to describe your anxiety, if you had to describe it in one word, what would it be? Drop it in the comments, and let's see if we all end up on the same word, or if it's a giant mix mash of words. It's and Brian, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's what frustrates me the most. I've told doctors about anxiety, and the response I get usually is, "Yep, that happens with Parkinson's," and they move on.
yeah, it's so true. It's like telling someone you're drowning and they say, well, that's water for you and walk away. Come on.
Yeah,
Give
but
me
at
a
least
life
at
jacket.
least at least throw me a pool noodle or
Yeah,
something. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, come on.
But it's true because anxiety is invisible. People don't treat it like it's as serious as tremor or stiffness, but it's right up there, if not number one.
Oh my God, Brian. Like for me, it's been just disabling at times, right? I'd almost rather deal with a stiff leg than a racing brain.
Same. And let's not forget care partners.
Oh my God, right? Like Carmen said something powerful the other day. She said, care partners often care partners often keep our own anxiety quiet because we don't want to add more stress. But silence is heavy, and when we connect, suddenly we're not carrying it alone anymore.
Wow, that is spot on, my friend.
It's true, right? Sometimes we just don't even think of it like that. We forget. We don't even think of the care partner. So if you're a care partner watching, type this in the comments. How about still learning in the comments? Because that's all that everybody. That's all we are here is we're just still learning. You know, it's amazing how fast this time going. And Brian, just add to that just a little bit. I often find, and if my brain doesn't start running like that right off the way, I'll be sitting like I was talking about at that birthday party, and I'll start feeling like the sweat, like that cool, when you're that cold sweat, and it's like what's happening? My palms get, and I'm like, oh my God, here it comes, and I almost think, and Brian, tell me if I'm wrong, and maybe I am, maybe I'm all by myself here, but I almost think like I start feeling that way, and I'm like, "Oh God, I'm gonna get anxiety. Now I'm gonna get. I can feel. I'm gonna get panicky. I'm gonna get panicky." And the more I get worried about getting panicky, the more panicky I get, and the more panicky I get, though, and it's just like this big tornado of blah.
Couldn't agree with you more. And you can't hide behind your stone face either, right? Like you can't put a smile on and cut anxiety out. It's almost like it's impossible.
It really is. It really is. It really is. Well, you know what? Not to switch gears too far, but
Step right up, the latest news. Parkinson's breakthroughs now in view. Expertly Parkinson's news for you. Research updates, gene therapy hoping to only at Expertly Parkinson's News. Now get ready. Here he is, Brian Campen. Change. Tune in now. Progress in our site, Expertly Parkinson's News. Right.
Hey, thanks for that, Bryce. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life in Motion. Today, I'm going to feature a few stories. The first one is right out of here in Toronto. I actually saw this in the news last week. And it's about an extraordinary young inventor, Matthew Shen, who's developing a way to detect early Parkinson's using only a few seconds of a person's voice. Yeah, a few seconds. It's a hopeful example of how curiosity, compassion, and technology can intersect to help people living with Parkinson's. So let me set it up for you. Matthew is a teenager, he's 16, from Toronto, who began investigating voice biomarkers, tiny changes in voice that can indicate early Parkinson's. His artificial intelligence, or AI model, reportedly uses about 3 seconds of voice audio and has shown promising accuracy in early reports. The work has been written up in research reprints, and he's presented it publicly. Matthew described his approach as focusing on subtle vocal changes and making the model explainable so clinicians can understand what the AI is basing the result on. And he had some personal motivation for this. Several news and social posts report he was inspired by a close friend's grandmother who was someone that had tutored him as a child. She later struggled with Parkinson's. Seeing her difficulty in speaking and living with the disease spurred him to work for a tool that might detect Parkinson's earlier and help people access care sooner. That personal connection is central to how Matthew explains why he spent so many hours on this project. What the researchers are saying is in this preprint describing the method, the team trained explainable artificial intelligence to identify voice features associated with early Parkinson's. The advantage of voice-based screening is its simplicity. It could allow widespread low-count screening from short voice samples collected remotely. The authors emphasize interpretedly that clinicians can see what voice features the model uses. Note, this is early stage research and not yet a clinical diagnostic tool, as more validation and clinical trials are required. So why does it matter? Well, early detection matters because early diagnosis can enable earlier symptom management, access to support, and entry to clinical trials. Tools that are cheap, non-invasive, and easy to administer, like voice-based screening, could help each person who otherwise face barriers to early diagnosis. But remember, AI screening is only one step. It should lead to clinical evaluation, not replace it. So in closing, this story of Matthew Shen, a young person with compassion for a friend's grandmother, helped fuel a project with big potential. We'll keep watching as more research, validation, and clinical work unfold. But if you found this interesting, stay tuned. We'll link to more research as it comes down and pass it on, as we will with the other ones that I've mentioned earlier. Now, moving on, here's a state-of-the-art tech-forward story. So this one I found interesting. It's how wearable sensors could spot Parkinson's before you feel it. So what if your shoes, your watch, or even your shirt could tell you something about your brain before you even knew something was wrong? With VoiceScript, there's a quiet revolution happening in Parkinson's research, and it's all about wearables. Researchers are using tiny body-worn sensors, think smartwatches, motion trackers, even shoe inserts, to track the subtle change of how we move. We're talking changes to so small you wouldn't even notice them, but a sensor would. One system, called Opal, developed by a research team at Oxford, straps lightweight sensors to your wrists, ankles, and chest and lower back. It tracks your movement while you walk, sit, stand, even while you sleep. And here's the wild part. In a recent study, the sensor picked up early signs of symptom progression months before standard clinical tests would do that. This means we're getting closer to something big, objective, continuous monitoring, not just snapshots in a doctor's office, but a real picture of how Parkinson shows up in your daily life. Imagine this being used not just for earlier diagnosis, but to fine-tune medications or even catch progression before you feel it. One day wearables might say, hey, your strides changed slightly. Maybe we should look into that. Of course, we still have early stages, but the goal is clear. Technology that supports you in your life, not just in the clinic. So next time you lace up your sneakers or strap on your Fitbit, just know the future of Parkinson's care might be walking right alongside of you. And lastly, I'm going to finish off with my hack for this week. I call it the Willie Nelson railing. When I travel, I take these portable handrails with me. I got them off of Amazon. It was $20 for a pair of two. And they have suction cups that allow you to stick it to the wall. So I use it when I travel in public washrooms if necessary, in hotel rooms, in washrooms, in the hotel. And for me, I call it my Willie Nelson because it's always with me when I'm on the road again. It gives me safety, independence, no matter where I am. Bryce, on that note, this is a wrap and it's over to you.
Brian. Only you, Brian. Only you. You could start out covering AI, brain surgery, and end with a Willie Nelson bathroom rail. I love it. Absolutely love it.
This is what they look like here.
Those are amazing. I know we talked about those on that other show, and it was funny. I'd never ever heard of those before, and a lot of people in the comments had either. It was really interesting. What I found interesting about that, Brian, is that people either had them or had never heard of them.
Exactly.
It wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't like someone was saying like, oh, I've heard of those, I'm not sure. It was either, no, I have them, or what the heck are those? And so I still have to buy some, but Carmen keeps threatening. She's like, every time she goes on Amazon, she goes, have you got the handrails yet? Did you put them in the cart yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. And so we want to get them. I really want to take them on the road, like when I travel as well. Like I'm thinking like in the bathrums when I travel, and especially when I'm alone. Yeah, exactly. Because you're talking about the traveling side to it. It's like,
yeah.
It's funny. You talked in the news there about monitoring. So I'm like, my gosh, what amazing, like what an amazing thing this Parkinson's we've got, right? Like we get to carry all these extra like tool bags full of like handles and stuff like that. And we get to be, and if we want to get better, if we want to have the new stuff, we get to be monitored all the time. Isn't that cool? Yeah. It's like we're in a zoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or a laboratory. I don't know. Somewhere between the zoo and the lab.
Exactly. Anyway, that was awesome, man. I really look forward to these segments of yours. They're really good, and I know the audience is really enjoying them. So, audience, what grabbed you in that segment from Brian? If drop it in the comments, we would love to hear that and kind of get onto it. But let's get into Brian. You know what? I don't want to just talk about anxiety. I want to give some tips some tips that that our viewers and audience can use as we go forward. So let's get into the what do we do about it part, because it's one thing to sit here and say anxiety is real, it's heavy, and it's often ignored. But if we stop there, it's just depressing. So we pulled together 5 things that have actually helped us and other people we've talked to, and I think talking through them like this might give somebody listening today a new tool.
Yeah, right. And, we're not doctors. We're just 2 guys living it. But sometimes hearing how another person handles it is a very useful thing for you to take on and take forward.
It really is. It's that me too, right? It's me too. Exactly. So let's start with the first one. Okay. And this is movement, and movement is the first tip is moved. How do you get rid of anxiety? Some tips on anxiety. You got to move, even in small doses. Now, I know I can almost hear the groans because I was almost going to groan myself, Brian, that, oh, great. Here we go. Exercise again. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bryce. Very original. Right. But hear me out. I don't mean go for a run marathon, right? For me, sometimes it's just walking to the mailbox or doing some light stretches when I wake up. It shifts something in my head.
Yeah. And you know me, I'm not exactly lining up for a spin class either. But I'll tell you, when I don't move, my anxiety actually sits heavier. Even 5 or 10 minutes of walking, like you said, out to the mailbox or stand up and do some dishes, get out of that sitting mode, slumping on the couch. It changes the whole tone of the day when you can start inserting that into your day.
It really does. It's like pickleball, Brian. You want to play your pickleball because you're excited about it. And even if you're just playing with your grandkids or your grandson, you're teaching it to them. If that movement, all of a sudden you don't even realize, it's like you just feel better, right? It just feels better. And it's like the anxiety feeds on stillness. And when you move, you feel like you can take some of the power back.
Yeah, and movement doesn't have to be fancy. But, my exercise routine some days is just chasing the grandkids, quite honestly. But I also do a stretching routine every morning. It takes me about 30 minutes. And it's funny, the grandkids I have to ask them to get off my yoga mat so I can do what I need to do. They're doing headstands and twirls. It's awesome. It's also motivating, very motivating.
Well, and meanwhile, my routine is like walking to the fridge. But you know what? Hey, movement is movement, Brian.
Depends what's in the fridge, boy. Rice, cheesecake is not cardio.
Tell me about it. You should see my heart rate go up when I see the last piece of cheesecake. I'll tell you, it's awesome.
That's anxiety.
That really is. That really is. So, so that's tip number 1. How about tip number 2? We'll get into this one. And this is tip number 2. It's breathing. And this one sounds almost too simple, but I swear it works.
Yeah, I do this thing where I take a slow breath in through the nose, hold it, and then let it out of my mouth. And I've been doing it more so now in the night when I wake up, either before or after a pill time. But I find that it makes me yawn, and yawning makes me sleepy. And I'm starting to sleep a little bit better. And I just do about 10 of those as a cycle, if you like. But I do it a few times throughout the nighttime.
That's awesome. I've done that too a few times, but for me, it's more about grounding. Like if I'm sitting in a chair, I'll press my feet into the floor just to feel the solid ground around me, and I'll grab, onto my coffee mug, and I really notice it, the warmth, the weight. It forces my mind out of that spiraling and back into the present.
That's good. I like that a lot because anxiety wants to drag you into the future. What if this? What if that? Grounding pulls you back into the moment. And keeps you there.
You have to. It's all about staying present. Like sometimes I'll even say things, and I've talked about this before, where it sounds ridiculous, but I'll say things out loud. Like I'll be sitting there, I'll be like, I'm in this chair. My feet are on the ground. My meds are working. I'm okay right now. It sounds silly, but it interrupts the storm in my head.
I like it. I like that a lot. And if nothing else works, I find a good loud sigh helps, but I like to do that when nobody's around so I don't think there's something wrong.
Yeah, you know what? That kind of sigh where your wife says, "What's wrong with you now?" Oh my God. Well, so that I kind of, and I jumped right into that grounding. I was like, I didn't even say tip number 2. It was like, but anyway, but tip number 3, Brian, as we move into this, these out of 5, and I think this one is really underrated, and it's routine. It's routine. Anxiety loves chaos. And if my day is unpredictable, my anxiety skyrockets. Like when I have a routine, even a loose one, it calms me down. For me,
So
that
true.
means simple things like taking my meds on time, at the same times, and making coffee the same way, even knowing what time I'll sit down to do my emails.
Oh man, it's like you just described me. I'm the twin to that. I always lay my meds out at night, the night before, because I'm up twice in the night. So I've got the 3 that I take at 2:30, and then the 5:30 starts my whole new pill organizer for that next day. So they're all ready in the first compartment, ready to be taken as well. But routine saves me from a giant spiral for sure. I've become very,
Absolutely.
very rigid, I guess, in my routine.
Yeah, me too. And I wasn't like that in the past. Like before, I was loose. I was just kind of, I'll take it as it comes. And I actually remember one morning, Brian. I was sitting. I woke up, and this is what do you call it? BC. This was BC before Carmen. I woke up. I made that up on the fly right
I
there.
like that.
Anyway, but I was I literally I rolled over to get my meds in the morning, and I couldn't get the cap open. Like it was like
Oh, wow.
a new bottle. My hands, don't work well in the morning, and I was struggling. And I didn't, I was trying to call my kids, like someone help, anybody help me, that kind of thing. And I realized, and then going forward after I got all that fixed, the nights that I didn't, like if I was just tired and I didn't put lay my pills out, like if Carmen's not around, but if I'm on the road, I'll take the caps off my pills, right? And I know there's contraptions and everything, but I just take them off. I leave them beside me. It's just my routine, and I go to sleep. But if I'm too tired, I forget. When I don't have a good sleep, because I think in my brain and my body, I'm having anxiety already about the morning. So that,
Yeah.
by you doing that, your rigid routine at night, your whole, like you're loosening yourself from that. Not that you don't have to worry. I know when I wake up tomorrow, this is what it's going to look like.
Yep.
I know my
Totally.
pills are ready to go, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, and you know what? To me, I always thought that sounded boring, but it's not boring, right? Like that doesn't mean your life's boring. It means that you've taken away the guesswork and the anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety hates predictability.
I love that. That's a great line.
Really
Yeah,
is.
and it's like saying, "Sorry, anxiety, no room for you here. My schedule is already full."
Exactly. Like stop. My daughter used to always, like when she'd like don't talk to me, like stay away. And I think that we need to do that to anxiety sometimes. It's like, hey, stay away.
Talk to
I
the
got
hand.
you, right? I got you. You talk to the hand. I got my routines in place.
I
I'm
love it.
covered. I got this set, right? There you go. All right. Well, let's move on to tip number 4.
Okay.
And it's one of my favorites, Brian, and that is humor.
Love it. Love
right?
it.
I swear, when I can laugh at something, it shrinks it down to size.
Same. I mean, we play shaky or fakey every week for a reason. Because if you can't laugh at the disease, sometimes it'll eat you alive. Alive.
It's what, it's so true, and it's funny because we play shaky fakey, like you just said. We laugh through it, but I always kind of leave there and I learn something. It's wild.
Every week.
I'm like, huh, never thought of it that way. It's like we're tricking ourselves to learn something, but we're laughing through it at the same time. It's kind of, for me, it's like when I think that, like when I gamify my exercise, like when my riding my bike, when I have it like on my screen, like I'm in a video game, I'm tricking myself into exercising and yet enjoying it. And it's kind of cool that way. I really do. And I like the time that, like, I liken it. God, Brian, I liken it to this time that I almost tried to pay for groceries with my health card, and instead of my debit card. And I said that in the comments. We talked about that in the shaky fakey last game, right? When we brought
did.
I brought that comment up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's sort of like, that sounds crazy, right? And then one thing I was going to mention to you last week that I didn't mention, about that health card versus license, in Manitoba, where I live in Manitoba, Canada, they're talking about, we're going to have our health card and our driver's license as one piece of ID.
Nice.
Right. So we have our license and our health card on one thing.
Beautiful.
And then they're apparently, like, if you're ever getting pulled over by the police, you can swipe, or you can stick it in and put your PIN number in and to prove it's you, like that's your ID.
Yeah.
And I just thought about that for a second. If I got pulled over by the police and he walked up to me and he had brought this thing for me to try to stick this little card into, I'm getting a DUI. There's no way. Like I get anxiety. I'll tell you where some of my anxiety flares up is that if I'm in a store and I'm purchasing something that's going to be over my tap limit, like whatever, $200,
Yeah.
if I'm buying groceries or whatever, or, buying Carmen flowers or something, and if I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't tap, the anxiety starts to come on me, because when they hand me that little machine, I cannot get that little teeny slim card inside that machine in one shot. It's impossible. It's just impossible. But anyway, I digress, right?
No, that was good. That was a good story. Thank you.
Yeah, I went chasing rabbits, but that gives me anxiety. And as I think about these things,
Yeah.
I just think of and those are such little things. If you think about it in the big scheme of things, Brian, that's a minute, 2 minutes out of my day. And what's the worst that's going to happen? Let's being real. Like in a
Yeah.
restaurant or something, if I can't put it in there, like what? It's either the wait
The waitress.
the waitress or the waiter is going to just pick it up
Yeah.
and put it in for me, right? It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
right. So anyway, anxiety hates laughter. It's like turning the lights on in a dark room. And
Another good one. Good line, buddy.
yeah, exactly. And that leads us to tip number 5. And this
Okay.
is another tip on how to beat this anxiety. And the last one of that, it's community.
That's huge.
It is. It's like when you're by yourself, anxiety feels 10 times louder. But when you talk about it with somebody else, it loses some of its grip.
Yeah, I've had times where I thought I was only, I was the only one going through something like that. And then someone says, "Oh, me too." And right there, half the fear is gone, which is amazing.
Exactly. And that's why we're sitting here doing this podcast. Not because we've got all the answers. We really don't.
No.
Brian's got more than I do, but because when we sit here and we say it out loud, someone out there hears it and they feel less alone.
And that's worth it, right?
It's all worth it. Now that's why we do it. And so now it's your turn. If you've got a go-to strategy for anxiety, something that helps you, drop it in the comments, because you never know who you might be helping. And believe me, Brian, you know what? If if anybody looks through the comments of our podcast, there are so many people responding to comments or liking someone else's comment. People don't just watch and listen to us. They read the comments of others because they want to know what others are saying or in these situations. And there's so many of them times I can tell you right now that somebody's comment, they stepped out, they said, "Hey, I'm dealing with this. It's awful." And someone else jumps in with a tip, or they're using one of our tips. Others are reading that, by the hundreds are reading that over and over again. And so whether you know it or not, when you put a comment in one of our podcasts, you could be definitely helping somebody.
Putting yourself, because there's great info in there.
It really is. And
all right, where are we?
Brian, speaking of people in the comments,
get ready for the only game show where the stakes are low, but the side eyes are high. It's time for Shaky or Fakey, the game where one fact is true, one is totally made up, and Bryce and Brian pretend they studied. Will they nail the neuroscience or flunk the funk? Play along in the comments and see if you can beat the bros. Let the Shaky showdown begin.
I love it. I love it. Okay, time for Shaky or Fakey. That's where I'm going to read a Parkinson's story or a fact. And Brian has to guess whether it's real or did Bryce make it up. And you guys play along in the comments as always. Put the question number 1 and or number 2, whatever question it is, and put Shaky or Fakey. And let's see if you can beat Brian. All right, mister. I've got some questions for you today. I just got to bring them up on my other screen here, and we are going to get at these. So are you ready for this?
Oh yeah, pencil in hand.
How was our last show? I'm trying to remember. I think we did pretty good. You got
4
for 6, I think.
Yeah,
there were some 6-6ers in there last week. I was quite impressed.
Good on them. Come back.
Right? It was like, huh? Like, come on. All right, here we go, Brian. This is Shaky or Fakey. This is the anxiety edition.
Every edition's anxiety for me.
The anxiety edition, exactly. I have no anxiety in this game. This is just fun.
Exactly.
I just read stuff. Okay. No anxiety, no pressure. But here's question number 1. All right. So some people with Parkinson's say their anxiety actually gets worse before their medication wears off. Like their body knows the off state is coming before it even hits. Is that Shaky or Fakey? Some people say that anxiety actually gets worse before their medication wears off. Like their body knows the off state is coming.
I don't believe So
You
I'm
don't
going
believe it?
shaky on that.
Oh, you believe it. You believe it.
I think it's true.
You think it's true.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, you know what? And it's funny, it even has a term. You know what it's called?
No.
Anticip- Anticipatory
Uh,
anxiety. And it's common around meds wearing off. And that, for me personally, that's where I start feeling brain fog. I start feeling, everything
yeah.
starts to and it's so I know for a fact that's coming. So good job, Brian. That's 1 for 1. That's starting you off on the right foot. And
It is.
yeah, and as we normally do this, we start off with, a fairly easy question for you to kind of get you rhythm and get you going. But here we go. You ready for this? This is question number 2.
Okay.
And in the comments, shaky or fakey. There is a little known relaxation technique in the Parkinson's community, and it's called the frozen pretzel pose. Okay. And that's where you cross your arms and your legs real tight. You hold your breath and you wait 20 seconds until your anxiety passes. So there's a little known relaxation technique in the Parkinson's community, the yoga community, and it's called the frozen pretzel pose. You cross your arms and your legs tight, you hold your breath, and you wait 20 seconds until your anxiety passes. All right, Mr. Brian, I know you're a big yoga fan. I know you like wearing those red Adidas and just like stretching them all out. So what do you figure on this one? Do you think that is shaky or fakey?
I believe it's fakey.
Shaky. All
No,
right.
fakey. Fake.
Yeah, it is cool. It's so fake. That was so easy, right? It's like,
You wrote it. I can tell. You used the word freeze. You used the word pretzel. You described them crossing their arms. None of that is true.
Okay. All right. Now I'm making
That's my feelings.
You get your notes out because I see you have your pencil out as normal, and I know you're taking notes. And I'm just but I'm going to make some notes here because now it's like, word play. Make sure you don't use a word.
I've told you this before. You forgot.
I know you did.
All. Okay.
Hey, thanks, Parkinson's. Right? I can't even remember. Hey, there's been times, Brian. I swear to you, there's times I'll be sitting right here and I've got my questions all prepared, and I start to read it before I tell you it. And I'm like, I read that to him last week. Like I had the same question. I always forget. But anyway, you're 2 for 2, buddy. That's a good job. All right.
It's a good start.
Oh. All right, here we go. Question. What are we on 3, right? Question 3? Yeah. Okay, here we go. A viewer wrote in saying this. This wrote into the comments, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The most anxious moments they've had was when their neurologist called them by the wrong patient's name 3 times in one appointment. Wouldn't that be funny? Like I was thinking when I read that, I was like, huh. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I would correct them, obviously, but can you imagine? And I'd be like, can I see my chart, please? Like, can I see where do you think we're at? But anyway,
Do I look like a Kathy? That's what I would say.
No, Karen. Hey, thanks, Karen.
Yeah.
Do I look like? Oh, that'd be so funny. I would love it. I would love that.
I'm going fakey on this.
You're going fakey. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely, Brian. You're so right. That's so fakey. And you're off to a tremendous start, 3 for 3. But yeah, I thought that was so funny. Anyway.
Do I look like a Karen?
All right, 3 for 3, Brian. Wow, look at you go. Okay, here we go. Question number 4. Brian's 3 for 3. What are you in the comments? Put it in the comments. What you are, like 1 for 2, 3 for 3, 3. Maybe everybody's 3 for 3. But here's a good one. So, question number 4. A 2021 study claimed that people with Parkinson's who regularly drink black tea had significantly lower anxiety levels than those who didn't. So a 2021 study claimed that people with Parkinson's who regularly drank black tea had significantly lower anxiety levels than those who didn't.
I'm going to go shaky.
Are you going shaky on that one? You're going all in? You're going shake. All right. Well, let's have a look at this right here. And actually, Brian,
I'm wrong.
Completely fake. Completely fake. Studies,
3 fakes.
Yeah, well, you know what? Studies have looked at caffeine and motor symptoms, but no proven anxiety benefit from black tea. So I thought that was quite interesting. So there you go. So that one,
I based it on the black coffee stuff we talked about before. That's what I hung my hat on.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. That was really well written by Bryce. So I know that was a tough one.
So
Okay.
Carmen wrote that one.
That's true, right? Oh man, exactly. That's
Man.
what I'm thinking. Okay, question number 5.
Yep.
And I think they're getting easier as we go along. Let's have a peek at this. Here's question number 5. In Japan, there is a clinical program where patients with Parkinson's practice laughing yoga as a treatment for anxiety. And it's actually covered by insurance. Would that be shaky or fakey? So in Japan, there's a clinical program where patients with Parkinson's practice laughing yoga as a treatment for anxiety. And it's
I'm gonna
actually
go
covered
true.
by insurance. You're going
It's
true on
shaky.
that one, shaky? You're going shaky,
Yep.
shaky? Well, you went 3 for 3, and now I've gone 2 for 2. That is false. It is fakey. Laughing yoga exists and it's studied, but guess what? It's not officially insurance covered for PD.
That's where I wasn't sure.
So there is a laughing yoga. It's just not, there's nothing about the insurance part. So there you go. And yet that maybe, I thought I'd play off of our Canadian insurance because everything's covered out here. So, so that's, that's pretty good. 3 for 5. That's where you're sort of at last week. But as always,
You got a
ready
bonus
for this? Of course I have a bonus, Brian. I couldn't leave
Bring
us
it
on that one.
All
right, here it is. This is the bonus question for all the marbles. Brian, you get this and you win and you can remain the champion. Brian, you don't get this. No anxiety at all. And Bryce will claim victory this week. Here it is.
All right.
Bonus question 6. Shake your fakey. One clinical trial tested whether smelling lavender oil daily could reduce Parkinson's related anxiety. Results showed patients reported calmer moods and slightly better sleep. That be shaky or fakey. So I'll read it to you one more time. One clinical trial tested whether smelling lavender oil daily could reduce Parkinson's related anxiety. Results showed patients reported calmer moods and slightly better sleep. Would that be shaky or would that be a fakey?
That is a shaky.
Really, eh? So with that, there is evidence, though, that people with Parkinson's who play musical instruments, especially piano or guitar, experience fewer anxiety episodes, possibly because of the rhythmic dopamine release triggered by finger movement. Did you know that?
I would have said shaky on that for sure.
I know, and that's the
it's
one I should have
playing
went with. That's the one I went with. So yeah. So your answer to the lavender was shaky. Did you say shaky or fakey?
Shake.
You were right with the shaky on that one, but I would have got you on the next one, which was fakey.
There you go.
And
You didn't get me though.
I picked the wrong bonus one. So congratulations, Brian. You
Feeling
are
good.
and you remain the champion of the shaky or fakey this week at least.
That's it for this round of Shaky or Fakey, where the facts are fuzzy and the fun is fully intentional. Think you can do better? Sign up to be a guest and take on Bryce or Brian in a future showdown. Just follow the link in the description, and you might be the next contestant on Shaky or Fakey. Cue the awkward outro music.
All right. Good job, Brian. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's so much fun. And
I'm
I think
feeling
everybody
good.
enjoys it. I think everybody enjoys Shaky or Fakey. It's becoming a
I
thing.
do.
It really is. But you know what? Let's land this, okay? Let's land today's episode. Anxiety is real. It's heavy and it's often dismissed, but you don't have to carry it alone.
Yeah, the more you talk about it, the less power it has. Absolutely.
Right. So here's your challenge. If you've ever been brushed off when you've mentioned anxiety, share that in the comments. That's how we'll push this conversation forward.
And don't forget to hit subscribe so the next person finds this and knows so the next person that finds this knows they're not alone. My anxiety is getting the best of me after that shaky fakey.
I love it, man. It's awesome. That's real. It's
I'm
totally
real.
real. You're real, man. And with that, I have a real Bryceism for you for today. Here it is. With Parkinson's, anxiety isn't just in your head. It's in your body, it's in your meds, and your daily life. But laughter and honesty are still the best medicine that we can prescribe ourselves.
Amen, brother.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, you have a good week. And until next time, everybody, keep showing up, keep being real, and you keep your life in motion. Have a great week, Brian.
You too, pal.
All right, buddy.
Everyone.
You did it. You made it through another episode of Life in Motion. That's 20 to 30 minutes you could have spent folding laundry, Googling your symptoms, or rearranging the 14 pill bottles on your nightstand. Instead, you hung out with Bryce and Brian. That's friendship. Or questionable time management. Either way, we're grateful. Be sure to follow the show, leave a review, or just yell, "I have Parkinson's and I'm fabulous," into your backyard. We'll hear you. Probably. New episodes drop regularly, unless we both forget. Until next time, keep laughing, keep shaking things up. And if you find our train of thought, please return it.